iZombie Season 2 finale, Deadbeat and Salvation Army. I really enjoyed this finale. Lots of crazy stuff, of course, starting off with the first episode. I think I may have mixed the names of it. I think Salvation Army was actually the first one. I could be wrong, they're back and forth. But the first part I thought was really great. I think both of these episodes had a lot of great content in them. The first one was actually where we finally got to see Clive find out about zombies and everything. I thought that was actually really great. I thought it was really cool. I was wondering when that would happen. I'm like, he's getting so close to these cases, all of which involve zombies. I'm like, at some point, he's just got to figure it out. Like, there's got to be something. Like, he'd either, figure it out himself, or he'd be really just thrown into a situation where he learns about zombies. And I just didn't know what the case was going to be. I'm like, there's got to be something that's going to happen. And we finally get the moment. They have Major get arrested in this episode, and they kind of messed up Major in the first half, because he's in jail the whole time. He's freaking out. We have like a time limit on brains and everything. It's like, we got to get him brains. He's gonna like go nuts, and there's gonna be crazy zombie rampage in prison, and zombie outbreak in general. So they're on a time limit. It's like, we got to figure out how to get him out of here. We have this really kind of wide open case. Something's gonna happen. He gets out on bail because, of course, Max Rager hires like this great defendant and everything. And we have the case getting ready to be blown wide open because, of course, Ravi, who was so conspicuous when he went to talk to him, which was really funny, but he gets the info from Major, and it's like, all right, this is the warehouse. We're gonna get the bodies. We're gonna get Drake to come back. Everything will be fine. He's not dead. Poof. Everything works out. And of course, Max Rager did know about it, because that was one of the things. It was like, I'm assuming it's about the warehouse, because the guy says like he has a warehouse, or he has a storage shed. So I'm like, that seems pretty obvious. I mean, it kind of changed the situation at the end of the last episode. It's like, why don't we take a walk and stuff like that? So it seemed obvious, and this was definitely 100% definitive. All those freezers were empty, and everybody's, now at Max Rager. So that destroys the case. But of course, they got nothing. No bodies, no real witnesses, anything like that. So he gets out on bail. And then we have, he's got all these people around him. It's like, hey, we're going to get you to Ravi. Here's your brain shake. All this stuff is happening. And then Clive comes right in, and it's like, you're under arrest again for the meet cute case, because we finally got the evidence on that case from a million years ago now. We finally have the 100% info on that, because he had everything, especially once he got the guy that sold him the gun. So that was just crazy. I was like, man, that is really messed up. Like, he's already in trouble. He gets busted as the Chaos Killer. Ravi got screwed over because, of course, he took the stuff out of his safe. So as soon as they mentioned that, I was like, he's gonna go to jail too. But fortunately, he didn't also go to jail. It was just, he was suspended without pay or whatever. Suspended. And just the way they played it out, I thought was really well done, because they have all this crazy crap happening. We find out, officially Max Rager has all the bodies. We have Major going to jail. Major going to jail again for the actual case, and they have all the info on him. And then we have Clive finding out about zombies, because Liv knows they don't have any more time. They finally have it where it's like, boom, we get him like this piece of food. I thought she was making him a cake, because technically you're allowed to have cake, I believe. But I guess that makes sense, because it was only jail. It wasn't like prison. Well, no, he was in prison because they had the whole thing set up. So he was like actually in prison. But they did the cake, and or the little thing, and of course the guy eats it, and then, or his dog ate it, and then he gives him just like a random type. So it was just crazy how they played it, but they had to do it that way. And then Clive learns about the zombies, and that was a great scene. And so of course we get Major free of prison, which kind of screws up Clive's relationship, and obviously he can't be like, well, zombies. So his relationship is done. We will probably see, I want to say Dale. I don't know why I always forget her name, but I believe Dale. We'll most likely see her come back, because she was an important character to Clive, relationship-wise. So, I like her character, even though she never really had like a huge role. I did like their dynamic, because they were both kind of silly with each other, because Clive is normally the serious one whenever they go on the cases. But when it was the two of them together, we got to see like a comedic side of Clive, which he didn't really show too often. Like, he'd make jokes every once in a while, but for the most part, whenever he was on a case with Liv and Robbie, it was fairly serious. So I actually like their dynamic because we got to see a little bit more comedy out of the two of them. So maybe she'll make a return. Maybe she won't. Who knows? But him finding out about the zombies was definitely great. And then we got the actual end of the episode where, Liv's back in and Jenko comes in. I'm pretty sure this is the first time they ever actually said his name, by the way, with these last two episodes, like the big bodyguard. So he comes in, kidnaps Liv, and I was so happy the way it played out, because at first it's like, okay, so Robbie walks past him, he's like, oh, the girl on the inside signed off on it and everything. He's like, oh, sure. He sees the glass, and they go to the next scene. I was like, I don't think he can take this guy. Like, as much as I like Robbie, he's not like a bodyguard, and that who knows what training this guy has or anything like that. I'm like, I don't think he can take him. But fortunately, he made the smart play and was just like, I'm just gonna knock him unconscious. I'm just gonna hit him in the head with a fire extinguisher. And I love that. I was like, that was the perfect way for that to go. Like, he knew what happened, and it was like, I gotta take him down, but clearly, crazy guy who knows about zombies probably has a bit of training. Just hit him in the head really, really hard with an extinguisher. So love that scene. Fortunately, he didn't die, because I was honestly a bit worried that they were going to kill somebody during this finale. And I really thought it was going to be Robbie during that moment, because the guy's an assassin, basically. And, he has him, and he has, like, the tranquilizer. I was like, okay, well, even if he knocks him out, that would suck. But that, even if he got knocked out, I was like, that could easily lead to him being, like, fed to a zombie or something crazy like that. That was, like, the first thing I thought. But he turns it on the guy. We find out he actually killed him, which was a really great scene after that when Liv wakes up and he's shaking. And at first it was funny, because like, he's still shaking. But then he's talking stuff, and it was acted out very well. And it was kind of hard to see, but there's like, it was like when he was basically talking about what he did after he died. He actually was crying during that scene, and I thought that was a very well done scene. I was like, that was actually really, really good, because it seemed like he was just scared at first. Like, he was still scared, so it's funny. But then he was actually upset because he killed a guy, and he started crying. So it's like, that was a really, really well done scene. And then we have, we go on to part 2 from there. Everything's done with the cases. We find out the Stacy Boss stuff is gone. I can't remember if that was the first episode or second episode, but either way, we have this stuff with Blaine kind of going down. And sadly, we lose a big guy. He gets shot straight in the head. I was like, they could easily do it where he gets shot in the heart and they think he's dead. But he fell down the stairs, just bullet right in his brain. So I was like, that really sucks. But he's been killed off. Donnie gets captured, although I'm assuming he's free at this point. They kind of don't really go back to that story outside of, eventually they end up saving Peyton. But Blaine kind of takes off. It seemed like he gained his memory when he saw the guys, but I guess he just knew, like, oh, murderers, and he takes off running. But he seemed a lot more like himself. He was making certain jokes and stuff, but he's still memory lost Blaine. And I'm wondering if this is really going to be his character. And I think it is, because it's been quite a while now. And, the effects could technically wear off a bit later, but I don't think they will. I think he's really going to be this character, and he's actually going to be kind of a good guy now. So we'll just have to wait and see how that plays out. Stacy Boss didn't have as much of an impact as I thought he would in the finale. I thought he might actually get killed or something like that in this one as well. But that doesn't end up happening. He wants Blaine dead. Basically, he's gone after that scene when he's like, when he finds out he's somehow still alive. He basically vanishes after that, because he's like, no, I want him dead. Find him, kill him, and that's it. And then he doesn't show up again. It's just like his henchman, and he's off somewhere else, I guess. So we'll see him next season. But I thought that was really cool too. It's like crazy mind wipe Blaine. Robbie gets knocked out. Peyton gets kidnapped. They go in. Blaine goes in like freaking Solid Snake or something with night vision goggles. That's a video game character for anyone who doesn't know. And he shoots everybody, saves the day, saves Peyton, and of course Robbie had like a, kind of crappy little moment where it's like because of course I didn't even think of this, but he found out that they were together, which I didn't realize that he didn't know that, which why would he? But it never even crossed my mind, like, well, yeah, they had sex once, but that was kind of it. So that, he's in an interesting kind of state of mind as far as their relationship, and he probably doesn't feel the greatest that he wasn't the one that actually ended up saving her. But she ends up being saved, so that was really good. They both kind of disappear after that. Now that I think about it, like neither of them are in kind of the ending of any of that stuff, and neither is Robbie. Technically, I guess basically the whole, probably like actually like the last 30 minutes. Really, I don't think any of them are in it. It's really just Major, Liv, and Clive, and then of course basically all are bad guys. But I love that. I thought it was fun. I love the second half of the final episode. It's, they have their mission. It's like we go in, we get some help from the scientists, which I don't remember who came up with the idea, but I think it had to either be Major or Liv, and I think it may have been Major. I think it was both of them kind of agreeing, but I think Major came up with the idea. They really should have chopped Janko's hand off because it would have been so much faster. Because they walk around and it's like we got to get to them and all this extra stuff. And unfortunately, by the time they finally get around to doing it, which means, like an extra hour or something, and that's why Clive even ends up going. By the time they finally get around to it, or it's even, finding the people they're looking for, they've already become zombies. And, Supermax, clearly instantaneous. Like, we don't really get to see a lot of, like, the transformation of characters, because we always see where it's like, oh, somebody got scratched, and so they transition over time and stuff. But when it's like Utopium and the Supermax stuff, or just Max Rager in general, it's like a weird frenzy state, because me and my girlfriend were talking about it, because in the beginning of the series, when Liv got attacked, Blaine was kind of like crazy zombie mode, but it was like the red eye mode. It's almost like three stages, three or four stages, I guess, because it's kind of Liv and Major currently, and then you have like their crazy zombie mode where they're like red eyes, and then I guess the Romero style where they're like slow moving zombies, but they were, because everyone was in like a crazy frenzy just eating people. But then they show like the other version, like unfortunately Drake, who does end up dying in the finale, um, they're in like regular Romero zombie mode. So we find there are a lot of weird stages that they never really explained too much, but I'm assuming that's how it went because she thought it didn't make sense. But to me, I guess it's like when they first turn, they're always in like that red eye crazy frenzy state, because that's whenever we see that, like when Liv does it, she doesn't have the greatest control over herself. Like when she first did it in like the second episode or something, and she like ripped the window off and she like threw a guy out of a car. I think she had to calm herself from not like ripping his head open and eating him right there, because she was in that crazy frenzied state. So I think it's like when they first turn, if they do kind of the combo, they're in like the frenzy state for a long time until they eventually calm down. But I love that. I thought it was crazy. Everybody's getting attacked by zombies, and then it just gets crazier and crazier. Horrible decision, but maybe the right call. But that security guard, who sadly just took off and left everybody to die, if he did open that gate, those zombies would have got out, and that would have been, like zombie outbreak. It seriously would have been. And it's crazy to think that. I don't know if I can't say that I would have done that in any way, shape, or form. I probably wouldn't have thought it's zombies. I probably would have just thought people went crazy and something's happening. It still would have been bad. It would have spread. I think I would have thought that. But it was just like, man, there were a lot of people he just took off and let them go. And I was like, man, that's a crappy moment for that guy. But crazy zombie apocalypse, mini zombie apocalypse, I guess. Rob Thomas is dead. They made a lot of good jokes about that too. That was pretty funny. But Rob Thomas gets killed. A bunch of other people get killed off. We have Max Rager being bought by like this paramilitary company, which is really weird. And then we find out that this new character Vivian is actually at the end a zombie. So I'm assuming she was a zombie. Before she even bought the company, she knew kind of the theories around Max Rager and everything like that, and that's why she bought it, because she knew that it would help, I don't know, maybe turn people faster or make zombies even more powerful. I'm not even sure. But I'm assuming she knew obviously she knew beforehand. So she's the new, I guess, villain. I mean, her thing at the end, it was just like a crazy ending, because it's like, hey, I'm a zombie. My guys are zombies. Seattle's going to be the zombie capital of the world. Some people won't like that, either with us or against us. And then boom, it cuts. So I don't even know what to think about her. She was pretty cool during the scene where they are all surrounded, where like Major, Clive, and Liv are surrounded. And I like that scene. She comes in, she's like, get some, and she's just shooting out a bunch of zombies and stuff. And I guess that makes sense because when she came in, all the zombies were still in the window because Clive was in there. But she kind of ran at him and was just shooting and shooting, and nothing seemed to happen. Like, they didn't seem to try to attack her really. And it makes sense why that didn't happen now. But that was pretty crazy. So I'm very excited for this new character. And I don't even know what to really expect from her, but I'm very excited about it. Of course, we have both Vaughn and Rita being killed off, which I really didn't expect in this episode. A lot of deaths, obviously, that I didn't expect. I didn't think they'd kill off Drake at all. I figured kind of the normal TV thing, Ex Machina style, they'd take him, he'd be in the test, and somehow they'd be able to save him by the end of the episode. But unfortunately, that didn't work, and he does end up being turned. They still leave a little mystery open with Major because they still have the woman Natalie who, for whatever reason, wasn't there. And she was taken somewhere, but she never came back, and she wasn't found as like a Romero zombie. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that, but they kind of left that open to be concluded. So I'm not sure how important that's really going to be, but I guess fairly important. So I'm actually pretty curious about that. Who knows? Maybe they took her last, and their cure actually worked on her, and she, who knows? Maybe she just took off or something. So I feel like that might actually be fairly important in the next season because they kind of left it open where everyone was together, but for whatever reason she wasn't there. So I think that kind of has to be the case. So that should be pretty important. But sadly, we lost Drake in this episode, and of course, Liv is the one that had to do it in order to save Clive. So that really sucked, and I wouldn't have expected that. He was a good character for sure. Definitely thought he was gonna live, but sad ending. She can't have a boyfriend. It seems like that's how they're kind of playing it. All her boyfriends seem to get killed off. Either she couldn't kill someone, so like when Blaine killed her boyfriend before, or in this case where she has to kill her boyfriend because he's gonna kill somebody innocent. So really sucky that she has to deal with that again, and like one season, a dead boyfriend per season. But really sad moment. But then we get Major and his revenge on Vaughn, which is actually very great. And then the surprising kill of Rita. I thought she would survive because she did kind of have a sad thing. It was like, even though she was obviously working with the bad guys, like just the way the situation worked out really sucked. And her dad was kind of playing her a little bit. It was like, I'm getting like over $1 billion and stuff, and all my time now can be devoted to finding a cure. And he seemed serious, like, oh, he actually does give a crap about his daughter. So I was a little surprised by that, like she was, like everyone would have been. And then we get to the end, and it's clear he's like, I don't really give a crap. Like, she's like, what about the cure and stuff? He's like, see, he instantly got mad. It's like, you're making it about you. Which was a great scene, like him being like super angry and just everything falling apart around him. I love that scene, actually. That was really fun. But it was actually kind of sad seeing her die because it's like, man, that really sucks. But she was in like that crazy frenzy state too, so they kind of had no choice after she'd killed her dad because she was in like a crazy rage mode because he didn't give enough. So she kills him, and it was fairly gruesome. They got pretty gruesome in this, especially during that scene. That and like the final scene where they just have people like digging in and eating the brains. I was like, man, they got pretty gruesome in this, which I really love because I think during the first attack they got really insane too. Because one of the guys jumped somebody, and it was like a guy on top of another guy, and he was like digging into his head, like his mouth was wide open. Like, holy crap, he's trying to annihilate him and get through his skull to get to his brains. So they got pretty gruesome in this one, which I certainly enjoyed. I thought that was cool. Like when they kind of get a little bit more over the top, kind of like in the finale of the first season with Major when it was like the crazy shootout stuff. So I like when they do that and they get a little bit darker because they have dark zombies. Like they have like when they're in their frenzy state, those zombies are really bad to deal with. So I like that we got to see like a crazy mini outbreak. It was actually very well done. Just chaos and dead people all over the place. So certainly did a great job with it. Got pretty gruesome. Definitely a great lead in with the finale where not only is this woman, she takes over Max Rager, which was like obviously she's going to be important because she took over Max Rager. But then we find out her whole ideal is to create Seattle as the zombie capital of the world. So now she's the main villain because I guess her plan is to just make other people zombies or to it's either to spread the word that they're real or just flat out take people and be like, you're either a zombie or maybe we'll just flat out kill you. I don't know if she's gonna really give the option for people to leave, because on a small scale it's like, we gotta kill you because if one person gets out and starts spreading secrets, then that'll stop our plans early. So I think in the early stages they'll have to kill people to hide that secret, but later on it'll be so many people that know, it'll be like, well, now you have the option. So I think they'll start off killing people, but who knows? We got a new villain. I'm very excited for it. She seems insanely capable, clearly with the paramilitary group. That's a very devastating force to go up against, especially when they're zombies. So that's really dangerous. I don't know how they're going to go up against an enemy of that size and strength, because Max Rager was huge, but it's like, we always saw the head of the company who was Vaughn all the time, and he had one guy who could actually fight, and that was his bodyguard. So I don't know what to expect, but I love this finale, of course, though. Definitely want to know what you guys thought about it, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts, and obviously I gotta ask, what are you guys expecting for season 3? We have a new villain. We lost both the bad villains of this season, I guess. We have Clive knowing the truth about zombies, which should be pretty fun. Actually, I'm kind of looking forward to that next season. But it's gonna be pretty crazy. I'm looking forward to it, of course. I love this finale. Loved how gruesome it got. I think that was really good for the finale. But great 2 episodes, like I said, though. Definitely want to know your expectations for season 3. And of course, what you guys thought about both these episodes for the finale. So please comment below, let me know. And thanks for watching.